Creativity expands across a variety of opportunity, everything from film, television, music, video games, graphic design, and so much more. Now, the first area of creativity that I absolutely love is music. Music has always been number one. Second area has been photography, although it is comparable to my love for film and television as well. Now, when it came to photography, I, like any kid, started off with those cheap Walmart cameras where you spun the little gear in the top, so that way you could take another photo until it was maxed out with how many pictures you could take. But over time, I upgraded it slowly. I went from those cheap Walmart cameras to those little bit more expensive Walmart cameras, the ones that were still kind of small, had a little bit of an analog zoom into them, and then you took your pictures and you had to plug the camera into your computer in order to download the pictures. But like anybody else, I eventually upgraded to my first DSLR camera, and to this day, the only DSLR camera I have ever owned. I've used several others depending on different jobs and gigs that I've had, but this is the only camera I've ever owned. Now, yes, it is an older camera, but you can still take some amazing pictures with it if you know what you were doing. And if you look, you can see I've been a little rusty. I haven't done a whole lot in the world of photography in quite some time, but I've taken some time to go out, practice, even use my dog as an opportunity to kind of see what type of photos I was able to take once I kind of got back into the gear of everything. And then with a mixture of my old photos and newer photos, I actually picked up a gig doing photography work for a family and their Airbnb. So essentially, I had to get myself up to snuff really quickly in order to be able to provide this service. So as you can see, with a little bit of practice, getting back into the understanding how photography works, and a little bit of editing in Lightroom afterwards, I was able to take some great property photos and some great photos for this family. All of that being said, anything that you want to pursue, anything that you want to do, there is always an opportunity to be able to get it done. There's a ton of resources available across the web. You can get yourself educated and you can spend little to no money in order to get started on something like photography. Nowadays, if you have a smartphone, just about any smartphone has a somewhat decent camera to get started with. Once you get started here, you start building a portfolio showing what you're able to do. You can start picking up little gigs here and there. If you take the time to set a little bit of money aside from whatever job you might be working, a little bit at a time, you can build up to afford your first cheap camera that you can get started with. Because remember, it's not just about the hardware that you use, it's about the skills and the knowledge that you put into place as well. If you understand how the camera works, the different settings that can make you get the right exposure, the right light sensitivity, all of those things in your photo, you can do a lot with a cheaper camera. If you are interested in it and it's something that you want to grow in, you can do it as long as you put forth the effort to gain the knowledge, get the resources that you can start to use, even if it's something like a used camera or your phone camera, and invest the time to start developing those skills, even though you're going to face a ton of failures along the way. Trust me, I have failed in more ways than I can count in everything. But if you take the time to learn from these failures, you can accomplish greatness in your skill set, in your gigs, in your portfolio, all of that. And this doesn't apply to just the creative atmosphere. This applies to any aspect of your life. So take the time to learn from your failures, expand your knowledge, put time into practice, and you will become something great in that which you love to do.